Thank you, Lavelda, and welcome all. Welcome all of you to this AdvantEdge event that we're hosting for our US and for EMEA customers. Really grateful that you could make time to join us today to discuss this very important theme of business resilience, and really in the context of automation and AI. I think resilience is such a fascinating concept overall. A lot of the thinking around resilience focuses on change, right? On the fact that an organization or an entity is able to weather change. But I think a lot of resilience also has to do with being able to maintain your essential core, to be able to retain your essential identity in the middle of change. So, in a sense, resilience is about change, but it's also about maintaining the essential core of who you are as an individual and as a business. And we see this whole theme of resilience play out so beautifully in nature. Every time there is a storm, the young trees will respond to the wind and they will sway, but then finally they will come back to their central resting position. So, a very interesting theme, resilience. And obviously, it's never been more topical than it is today. We are still in not in the aftermath, but within the pandemic. A pandemic that really nobody could have predicted the intensity and the global synchronicity of it just about 2 years ago. If you'd told me, and in January of 2020, we were already aware of the start of the pandemic in parts of Asia. But I don't think anybody had a sense of how quickly it would spread, how globally synchronized it would be, and of the shutdowns and the lockdowns that we would see, and what a strain that would put on societies and economies and companies and individuals across the world. But for me, the critical thing about the pandemic and the lockdown and the challenges we've faced has not been the challenges, but has been the human response and the speed of the recovery. Quite candidly, if 2 years ago you told me that we'd be, into 18 months of the pandemic, I'd have worried about the ability that we have of our critical systems, whether it's food or water or our supply chains, to be able to stand and to retain their integrity. They have. I think the fact that we've been able to continue to live and to work and to function as businesses and societies is a huge testament to how well and how resilient our systems have been. Uh, if you think of just how much has changed within companies, you think of remote working, which was a new experiment for most organizations. You think about the fact that most organizations have actually sped up their digital transformation initiatives. So many companies have changed their complete business model. So it's been quite revolutionary, the impact of the pandemic. And despite that, we have continued to survive and indeed to thrive. Uh, the impact of the pandemic obviously has been across industries, right? So if I look at banking, just a complete movement away from a branch-based structure. If I look at healthcare and the provisioning of digital healthcare that is happening across the world, if I look at the world of entertainment and how physical cinemas are now almost completely gone, despite how well some of the stocks of the cinema theaters have been doing, it's been revolutionary, the change across industries. And at the end of the day, this is not surprising because consumer behavior has changed, the customer has changed, and obviously the enterprise must follow as well. The enterprise must change also. One of the key reasons why I feel that we have been so resilient as societies and companies has been clearly been because of technology. Uh, Clearly, the world is much more globally knit together. But if we had the same crisis hit us without the technology that we have, I don't think the response would have been as robust, and I don't think the integrity of the supply chains of societies would have been maintained to the degree it has. So technology has really played a key role in ensuring resilience. And within technology, and we use the word technology broadly, I think cloud. And AI and automation have really played a central role in ensuring resilience for organizations and for companies. Uh, for businesses, resilience is again has that key sort of intermixture, like I'd spoken earlier, of change and stability. So our ability to be able to forecast the change that is coming through and our execution ability to be able to respond to the change, I think both of them are equally important. And this is where I think the role of AI and automation is so critical, right? Because you need the insight to be able to predict the change coming through, uh, whether it's changes in your customer behavior, changes in the supply chain, changes in the economic environment, and then our ability to execute and our ability to respond. And AI and automation really gives us those tools to be able to respond robustly uh, and to be able to respond, quite candidly in a cost-effective fashion as well. As we're looking at, the digital transformation journeys across the world, and specifically in the context of, AI and automation, I think one key important point is that we have to ensure that we're also moving to new paradigms, right? The world is moving to a digital first paradigm. And I think in this case, it's important that we not purely lift and shift the old processes that were there, but that we are able to reinvent them more intelligently to really fulfill the promise of a connected enterprise, which is what today's session is about. Which is about how do we get connected automation to drive a connected enterprise, really to drive a high degree of business resilience. So in this digital first model, I think it's important to be able to reinvent and reimagine the enterprise as well in the interest of resilience. Automation has been a key driver ensuring resilience, and we've seen this, whether been in warehouses or in retailers or in banks. Automation has made organizations a lot more resilient, and automation has also moved away from the periphery to the core, which is important because this is the only way in which automation can build scale, and scale automation is the only way that we can fulfill the promise of a resilient enterprise. I think human machine interactions also are absolutely critical. We have to make sure that in a common and consistent workflow, the digital workers and human beings are able to come together effectively to meet the promise of of a connected enterprise. And really, it is using this combination of the capabilities and the infrastructure that the cloud gives us, and the deep insight that that AI gives us, and our ability to drive execution using a mixture of AI and automation. This will really ensure resilience for the long term. And I feel that uh, the pandemic has given us a taste of what the connected enterprise of the future, what the resilience enterprise of the future looks like. And we look forward to exploring this journey with you in our sessions today, but also in the in the months to come as we build together the enterprise of the future. So with that, thank you, Lavelda, and back to you.
Thanks, Mohit. Excellent session. And some interesting points made there about the impact businesses are facing due to the pandemic. The shift that we see happening in technology can play a vital role in enabling organizations to handle this. So we have a lot of questions coming in. Let's pick the first question for you to answer. So here's the first one. What are the main challenges that you feel that enterprises need to navigate in handling business resilience?
Thank you, Lavenda. So look, I feel that there are obviously many challenges, but I'll sort of group it into three broad buckets. The first, from my perspective, is that in the space of automation and AI, we have really not used scale. These have been small experiments that haven't truly been scaled, and they're not at the heart of the enterprise. And as I mentioned when I spoke earlier, you have to move away from the periphery of the enterprise to the heart and be able to scale. So I think that's the first shortcoming or the first challenge. I think the second challenge has to do with, again, because these are small experiments, we have not really spelled out the scope of what they mean to an organization at scale. So laying out that business charter, laying out the business scale for large scale AI and automation, I think is the second key challenges enterprises are grappling with. And the final piece, and Nandan spoke about this in his talk earlier, which is about how do we get organizations to modernize their infrastructure. At the end of the day, AI and automation rides on common infrastructure, and we have to make sure that the infrastructure is agile and scalable. So move from small scale experiments to more scale in the heart of the enterprise. Define an organizational vision and a charter, And finally, see what you can do to modernize legacy systems so that you have an agile and scalable infrastructure.
All right, interesting point made there, Mohit. We have time for one more question. Mohit, you spoke on how the age of connected automation is here. How will this benefit enterprises?
Yeah. I think this is an important point, and really it comes down to sort of thinking about philosophically, what is an enterprise? Right? And what an enterprise is a mixture of internal and external capabilities, which allow us to get insight into what customers are looking for, whether they are individual customers or institutional customers, and then our ability to execute on what customers want and be able to provide them with a certain experience. And so, therefore, for an organization to intuit what customers want and to be able to deliver them that particular experience or that particular thing means that we have to synchronize a whole range of capabilities within the organization. And we have to be able to synchronize external capabilities as well that third parties may provide to us. So, really, every organization is a connected enterprise. And the more deeply connected it is, both internally and externally, the greater are the opportunities for it to win in the marketplace. And really, it is no surprise. You can look at organizations in the past 30 years, and I kid you not, every single large enterprise has a one, and think of the name of the company behind it, initiative every time, right? Whether it's a one Infosys initiative, a one GE initiative, a one CVS initiative, a one GM initiative, a one Barclays initiative, every single large organization has had this kind of initiative because they recognize the power of a connected enterprise that is looking holistically at the market opportunity and looking holistically at the execution possibility. So I think connected automation has always been important, but has never been more important given the fact that automation now, as we discussed, is also one of the main levers that we have to provide resilience.
I absolutely agree. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our session with Mohit Joshi. Thank you so much for your time, Mohit. We're very grateful that you took the time and shared your insights and thoughts on this very relevant topic in today's age and today's time. I'm sure the audience is absolutely going to agree with me on that. Thank you again for your time and have a great day.
Thank you, Lavelle. It's wonderful to be here.